The army clearly changed your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Led you on to business and
Yeah.
Somali pirates.
Yeah, you know, look, I got out of the regiment. I bought my way out of the regiment. I'd come back from Sierra Leone. We'd done a few bits and pieces. My behaviour dipped. I had a couple of issues. We'll park it there for now. Another day.
Yeah.
But you know, I got out. I bought my way out, and it was in September of 2001. Mm-hmm. And obviously the planes went cruising in, and I thought, yeah, there's some money to be made here. So I sort of like disappeared off to Pakistan, done me bits and pieces, ended up working in Afghanistan. I think I got to the embassy before they did, to be honest. Yeah, it was, and then it just became an absolute mad rush of this private military contracting that you've seen all about Afghanistan, Iraq.
And it's big money.
In the day, it was big money. The lads are going out there for peanuts now, and it really breaks me because they're taking some real risks. They're getting out of sturdy careers in the British military, and they're dumping themselves over there. Do you know what I mean? And and you know, when you look at Afghanistan now, and there's this big pull-out, the Taliban are advancing, and there's guys out there still working for £125 a day.
Wow,
that's insane.
Yeah,
I could get that on Brown's nightclub.
So you were making some decent dough.
I've done a little bit of dough. Yeah, we've done all right.
No, it looks like you did. It looks like you did.
Yeah, we've done okay. I wasn't sensible with it, Nigel.
No, well, I wouldn't expect you to be. You know. So was that like almost being a mercenary, or how would you describe what you were doing?
I prefer to call it contracting. A mercenary, you know, takes up arms and actively involves in things like coups and stuff like that. We weren't. We were always working on jobs that were aiding the infrastructure of the place or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I worked for the European Commission for quite a long period of time. I worked for the United Nations.
Gosh, they'd never have employed me, would they?
They missed a trick there, Nigel. They missed a trick. Yeah. So all the jobs I did basically were geared up to helping with infrastructure, training people, and we were taking on the stuff that really the armed forces couldn't cope with, really. Or not. They couldn't cope with. They could have done it standing on their heads, but the stuff that they just didn't have the manpower to do. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't. Yeah. You know, the European Commission's embassy didn't have a CP team. We took that responsibility on. We trained all their guards. You know, Motorola didn't have CP teams when I worked for them. So yeah.
And now you're trying to inspire kids.
Now, right. So my very first interview in the army was in 1987 with a guy called Major Finclair, and he asked me what I wanted out of life, and I said to him, "Sir, I want a great time in the army. I want to do some really cool stuff, and when I get out of the military, I want to help other people who come from a similar background to myself, i.e. from the children's homes and stuff, and I want to help them have a great time." I've expanded that slightly. I want every kid to have an opportunity in life to go and do cool stuff and be part of society and have a great life. Okay, and I'm now the head ambassador for the Army Cadet Force.
Yep.
It's the jewel in my crown. Kids have had a tough time. Kids are having an extremely tough time. You know, COVID's beat them up.
Can't go to school, can't see their mates.
Yeah. So they've had a really tough time. So organisations, you know, like people go, oh, but it's an army. It's not the army. No, it's not. The Army Cadet Force is about delivering youth into adulthood with some skill sets that they don't learn at school. If then one decides he wants to join the army, well, fair play to him. Well done. Great career waiting for you, son. But if he doesn't, or she doesn't, off you go. But you're now a first aider. You've now got some leadership skills. And if I was an employer in Civvy Street and somebody said, well, oh, he's got a gold DV, or he's been in the Army Cadets, or he made the rank of Sergeant Major, oh, we've got someone special here. Do you know what I mean? You might have 6 GCSEs or whatever.
So was recruitment for cadets pre-pandemic? I mean, how was that going?
It was going. I think it's going okay, and they kept the flame alive. More importantly, through the pandemic, we did a lot of stuff online. We did a lot of Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
You know, wherever we could, we made sure that we didn't lose them because it was so easy to lose people during the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And all right, I know that they're watching me now, and I know there was people on them Zoom calls in their underpants with their uniform on. All right, you can't escape from me, Phil.
There was a newsreader from a rival TV organisation was caught with a suit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, you know.
But it must be quite difficult. I mean, let's say, you know, Phil, I come to you. I'm 18. I've done 5 years in the Army Cadets.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about joining the Army. I see declining Army numbers.
Yeah.
I see a government who I had Colonel Bob Stewart here last night, you know, who is loyal to the Tory tribe, but you can tell, you know, that frankly he thinks Boris and co don't really care very much about this stuff. I mean, quite difficult to tell an 18-year-old now that it's a good thing to go in the army.
See beyond that sort of like massive picture and see what you're going to get out of it. You're going to get out of it skills for life. You're going to get offered a job for 22 years. You know, you're going to be working with an organisation which is the best at what it does in the world. All right, you're going to represent your country All right, and okay, you might get thrown a few lemons by those upstairs. That's inevitably going to happen. But I know for a fact that the armed forces pull it out of the bag every time they're asked, and whether they're helping with the pandemic or whether they're trotting around doing their bits and pieces elsewhere in the world, they give 100% commitment. And you know, it's for me. I don't sort of like. I'm not the recruitment guy for the British Army. Do you know what I mean? But I think they're coming on leaps and bounds. You know, the latest recruitment campaign is fail, learn, and crack on, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They're recognising more and more now mental health. You know, that's been taken seriously.
They used to say, be the best. Join
They're
the British Army.
They're still going to be the best, but what I say is now don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid to learn by your mistakes.
And the new adverts, I mean, the British Army's gone woke, hasn't it?
No, I don't think they've gone woke at all. I think, look, they're not appealing to me, they're not appealing to you, but they are appealing to the youth of the day, and the youth of the day are different to me and you, Nigel. They are completely different.
That's a fair point.
You can't argue with the figures.
You've probably got me on that one. You probably have.
Okay.
And what about politics and current affairs? Because, as I say, this book, Born Fearless, put you in a different place. And suddenly people wanted to hear, you know, and you appeared on current affairs.
On the Pledge,
the Pledge in
programmes
like this. So how do you see British politics today? How do you see the Labour Party?
I see it extremely difficult, you know. I wouldn't say, you know, when I was on the Pledge, they cast me sort of like on the right-hand side of Hitler. They really did, you know, and I wasn't, you know, I've got mixed-race grandkids. In the army, you don't see skin colour. No. You see another soldier. Yeah. You grade him by his abilities. In the Peacock Boxing Club, you grade somebody by his boxing ability. You don't go, oh, you're going to go and fight this colour lad or that colour lad. You go, you're going to be fighting that lad there. You're going to be training with that lad there. Okay, so I don't get this whole racist thing, really, in that respect, you know what I mean? But I see it happening. And I can't abide it. So, you know, politics where we are, if you lean too far left, it gets all too fuzzy and mushed up and too nicey-nicey. If you go too far right, it gets too kicked to death and horrible. Striking a balance in the middle is an extremely difficult thing to do, Nigel, as you will realise, do you know what I mean? And sometimes, if you get pinned with a set of colours, you can't do right for doing wrong. And that's an annoying thing, do you know what I mean? Because, you know, you just typecast straight away, boom, that's him. No, it's not me, do you know what I mean?
Well, I know all about
Absolutely,
that. I know all about that. Because one of the subjects, Phil, that I've been talking about for the last year and trying to raise the issue and make people understand what's going on is the dinghies, the ribs, coming across the English Channel.
I did it, didn't I? I went across there. You know, you've all seen that piece. I went across there. And what happened? Channel 4 got hold of it. They rubbished me for it. They absolutely rubbished me for it. They took me through the thing. You know, that thing went to court. And when it went to court, it was found that there was no foul play. Did I get an apology from Channel 4? No. Did I, hell? No. What a bunch of mugs they are down there. They really took...
Mugs is a very nice word. But we are before the watershed.
Probably too nice for Channel 4.
I mean, you know, I see what's happening in the Channel as a humiliation for this country. I see it as a huge cost for this country. How would you stop it?
It needs to be policed properly. You know, it needs. We're not going to rely on the French Navy to do this, are we? But we've got our own coast guards. We've got our own. And as you know, it's been just in the paper with the RNLI. You know, if they have to go out there and save life, that's what they have to do. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
But they're not policing it. We need our coast guard. We need our border force. They need to police it, and I strongly believe in that because. You know, the RNLI are not policemen. They're out there saving lives. Do you know what I mean? That's
unfortunately, it's taking up a lot of their time and resource.
It is.
Big Phil, thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah, no.
Great stuff. Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.